some of it's filled with a fair bit of tension and problems, right? And James, good to see you as well, right? And it's interesting for me, people ask, they say to me, it must be horrible being a high school counselor because it's got to be exhausting. You're dealing with problems all the time. And I say, well, not really, because they're not my problem. But actually, the deeper truth to that is that although they're not my problems, I don't view them as problems. I'm way more interested in the journey of growth. And that how people move from crisis and danger to the opportunity to excel. Not in ways that we measure necessarily as success, in the tangible ways, but success of the heart. I had the privilege of getting to know Adam through the beginning and the latter part of his high school career. West Point Grey was the wonderful sandwich in the middle of all of that. And Adam was an extraordinary young man. We spent a chunk of time together. He and Darcy and I spent a little bit of time together. Darcy and I spent a bit of time together. And when he died, it was horrible. And I wrote you a poem, right? And actually, Ali gave it to you, right? And when I wrote that poem, it was called Adieu, Adam, Adieu. The emotion thing, right? I knew one day, sometime afterwards, eventually, Darcy would come and visit me. And sure enough, she did. And we chatted, and then we wept some. And then the next thing I knew, I was on the board of directors for Adam. Yeah. Now, there are lots of different types of apples. You got your Macintosh. You got your Blenheim, if you know a Blenheim apple. It's a good apple, a little tart. Speaking of tart apples, we have, of course, the Granny Smith, the Gala, which is a sturdy, sensible apple, the Delicious, which, at least for my palate, isn't. And then, if you know your apples really well, the Ambrosia, she's the queen of all apples. And there are lots of different types of apples. But what I discovered is there are 3 different types of Adam's apples. And if you take an apple and you open it up, you're going to find inside. You're going to find inside that apple, actually, you're going to find a message. And one of these Adam's apples messages is connection. Because that's what it's all about. At U Hill last year, there was a grade 11 student. Actually, he was a behemoth of a guy. And they have a leaders program, this fantastic idea. They do all kinds of activities with younger students, trying to make connections happen. So I introduced them to the idea of Adam's apples, and U Hill now has this burgeoning program. Not quite as many apples as at McGee, but there's a competition now, right? So, and he got the idea, and what I pitched to them was, use these apples to get to know younger students, or maybe those who are brand new to the school. And 2 days later, he was sitting on the floor with his kid. It was his first day at the school. He knew no one. By the end of the week, he was involved in 2 clubs, and had made 5 new friends in grade 8. It's about connection. Here's the other half of the apple. What's in here? Kindness, apparently, is what it says. I don't know if you read that, but it does. Kindness is what it's all about. Now, at my daughter's, Claire, my daughter, who, proud father moment, she has, at Stevenson London Secondary, taken Adam's apple in her own quiet way, and it has exploded, and quite frankly, changed the culture of the school. To the point which, grade 10 or 11 student, got a couple apples, and she went and she found a substitute teacher. Now we call these TOCs, or teachers on call. And if you know for yourselves, nobody pays any attention to substitute teachers. Sadly. They need to be welcomed and nurtured and taken care of. And this student, just from her own oomph, she went and she said, here's an apple. Welcome to Stevenson London. Right? Now that act of kindness towards strangers doesn't happen by accident. It happens only with intention. And what we're finding is Adam's apple in school after school after school is causing people to generate within themselves this desire to be agents of kindness. And the third one, and actually this is cool, braggy dad moment, Claire's used these apples and she's put them on the board and invites students to write on them. This current one says positive mind, which is a good thing. But the other one that actually I was supposed to have, but I don't know where I put it, was calm. And I'm feeling kind of calm now. Right? Connection, kindness, calmness, calm. I don't know, Steve, help me out here. I'm trying to make it ring a little bit. But interestingly, the Adam's Apples has provided a place of solace, of refuge, a place of calm in lives. And there have been a couple of schools where there's been some tragedy and difficulty that have happened. And it's interesting, kids gravitate to this focal point of the Apples as a place where they know they can come and be listened to and cared for and supported. And in fact, you're the apple lady. Right? And in fact, kids come and say, hey, Miss Chev, you're the apple lady, right? Can I talk to you for a minute? It changes and transforms. Now, this is just the beginning. When Darcy first had this idea, and Stephen and I, and Sandy and others, we all started talking about it. We had no idea where this was going to go, which is fantastic. But it's going to keep growing. How? Not sure. But what's really clear is the capacity and desire among teenagers in our schools is enormous to make places of connection and kindness and calm support. I think in the next little while what they're going to be hungering for is, show me how to do this better. Could you teach me the skills so I can go out and really make strong connections that build people up? That I can act in a way that is so positive and kind that we create communities of kindness in our schools where people are committed to kindness. And they're also going to be hungering to know, how do I help those in need who are feeling the storms and tribulation that adolescence so often brings, and to provide for them a place of kindness. Don't know where it's going, but Darcy, I have to say, thank you.